My name is Avraham Arieh Trugman, and I've just published a book called Orchard of Delights. It's called the Ohr Chadash Torah Commentary. And I'd like to take a few minutes to explain to you the title of the book and the contents of the book. First of all, you get to see this, a beautiful picture from Yitzhak ben Yehuda, a very well-known artist who lives in Moshav Modi'im, where I live also in Israel. And the reason I picked the title Orchard of Delights is the following reasons. First of all, in the Song of Songs, which is considered an allegory, a divine allegory of the love of God and Israel, it mentions in there a pomegranate orchard. This is very symbolic, and it was chosen as the name of a very famous book called Pardes Rimonim, the Orchard of Pomegranates, by a well-known Kabbalist in the 1500s in Sfat, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. And it's a very, very famous book because the orchard represents fruitfulness, the fruitfulness of the Torah. In what sense? In the sense that the insights that one gets from learning the deeper aspects of the Torah, the inner dimension, is like an orchard of delicious, delightful fruits. There's a famous story in the Talmud about, in Hebrew, it's Arba Shenichnasu LePardes, the four that went into the Pardes. Pardes is orchard. And without going into great detail, but we're told that what is this Pardes? Now we should know that the word Pardes is very close to the word paradise. And many people feel that the word paradise is taken from this word Pardes. And there's also a possibility that the word paradox in English is also based on this word Pardes. This Pardes, where these four great sages entered, was a place of deep mystical meditation that they had worked their whole life to achieve. And they went into this Pardes. Later on, the rabbis saw in the word Pardes, again, which means orchard, that the acronym, the four letters in Hebrew, Pei, Resh, Dalet, and Samach, stood for four different levels of learning the text. The Pei, the P, is Pshat, the simple, literal storyline. The Resh is Remez, the hints and allusions, of which there are countless, almost infinite hints and allusions in the Torah of something deeper happening in the text. Then the Daled, or the D, is Drush, from which we get the word Beit Midrash, a house of study. Drush means the allegorical, metaphorical parable of the Torah. Here we're entering into the deeper realms of the Torah, where we're seeing the stories in a deeply allegorical, symbolic way. And then the final letter is Samach, the S of Pardes, is Sod, what we call the Kabbalistic tradition, the mystical, secret tradition of very deep spiritual lessons. So we're told by the rabbis that when we approach the Torah, we need to learn it on all of these different levels. They all blend. It's a hologram. You can't really divide the simple from the allegory, from the hint, from the secret. They're all woven together. And the reason this is so important is because, tragically, so many young Jews are only exposed to the Torah in an English translation with no explanation of what it really means, especially any kind of a spiritual or contemporary or deeper understanding of what the text is talking about. So unfortunately, we've had a couple of generations in a row that have just lost contact with what the Torah has to offer. It is truly an orchard of delights. One other area that I explore deeply in the book is the idea of archetypes. One of the deeper understandings of the Torah is that the stories, these are some of the most famous stories in literature in the entire world, that these stories are not one-time incidents that happened to people a long time ago. These stories are what are called archetypal, meaning that the energy that they represent appears over and over in every generation, and in fact in each person. And that's what gives the eternal, timeless dimension to the Torah. These are not stories of people a long time ago. This is the story of us today and our inner world. This is really the only way to understand these famous stories in the Torah. And the same thing with the commandments, the mitzvot. The commandments and the mitzvot are not just what we have to do, but they ignite within us energies that allow us to connect to God, connect to the world, and connect to our deeper self. And one last aspect of the book is the idea of connecting secular knowledge and Torah wisdom. For too long, especially in the realm of science, people have thought we're talking about apples and oranges. You talk about science, you can't possibly connect it to Torah, the Bible. But in the last generation, there have been path breakers who have been able to connect psychology to Torah, mathematics to Torah, physics to Torah, economics, media, political science, you name it. In other words, people who have their feet in both worlds, in the world of traditional Judaism and have a solid basis in university in secular knowledge. And they're putting them together and showing that we're not talking about apples and oranges. So throughout the book, I try to introduce contemporary ideas, contemporary reality, to the stories and the commandments of the Torah, and show how we can unite these two seemingly different worlds. And as I said, to approach the Torah and understand the archetypal energies present. So my hope is that people will have a chance to purchase the book. You can go to my website, www.thetrugmans.com, and it will be in bookstores soon. And I just want to bless everyone, whether they read this book or not, to realize that the Torah is literally an orchard of delights, and there's infinite spiritual, intellectual, emotional pleasure that we can get from understanding the ancient text in the most contemporary way.